What up? It's your boy, guy who's wearing the same shirt that you saw earlier. You're catching on to my strategy, aren't you? Today we're going to talk about something that is just as classic as good old baseball, apple pie, and a long history of wars. And that, of course, is about eating out. Now, eating out is one of those things that is obviously American, especially if you live outside of America. But it's very, very true. If you go up and down the street, you'll see a good number of restaurants, bars, and other small places that you can just eat and hang out. And that's because they're very profitable, and at the same time, it's very cultural that, you know, it's much easier to go out and get food instead of coming home and making something. And that's typically because whenever you think of coming home and making food, you're thinking of spending a long time cooking migas or something like that, and you're just spending hours on end prepping the materials, getting what you need, washing everything after. Cleaning is such a nightmare, am I right? Am I right? But that couldn't be further from the truth. The time that you think that you're saving by going to a drive-thru or even sitting in a restaurant versus cooking this food at home is actually not as bad as you think. But the cost, way different. Way, way different. In fact, it's been on record that restaurants typically mark up their food 300%. Now that sounds like a lot, and it certainly is. But really, when you break it down, you're looking at taking the materials that you have for food, spending say $6 on that, and you're charging $18 for the meal. But of course, restaurants also have to pay their staff, they have the overhead, they have all the utilities and supplies and everything in between, so they do have a bit of cost to it. But if you were to take that $6 of food at home, you could stretch that out for a lot longer and get more meals out of it in general. So you're looking at roughly maybe about $3 to even $2 a single meal. I'll give you a little bit of insider information right here that I learned from business school that you probably won't hear from any other else. There's an old adage when it comes to restaurants where they say they will eat you poor but drink you rich. Now anybody who's gone out drinking, gone clubbing, gone getting wild and turned at the bars can tell you getting liquor kind of expensive. In fact, if you were to get like a $45 bottle of Jim Beam, you can roughly get about 20 shots out of that. Check me on that one. But regardless, I know those shots are about $5 a piece. So going out for a $45 Jim Beam versus our 20 times 5 shots, that means they're making $100 off of this $45 bottle of Jim Beam, meaning they get to keep $55 of profit. Now, would you want to be paying for all that? You're not drinking all of that, but you're certainly making a big hand in that. I've never owned a restaurant, but I can certainly corroborate this information as I've audited a good number of restaurants. And let me tell you, bars make some money. It's crazy. It's crazy, crazy. That's just where the industry is. Typically, when it comes to making food at home, people's biggest gripes is that they just don't have the time to come in and cook after a long day, or they just want to go unwind with their friends, have a nice drink. But really, when it comes down to it, if you're spending 12 to 20 minutes waiting through a drive-through line, that's just as long as it takes for you to make a good pan of any sort of food that you want. In fact, there's a little bit of a life hack here for you, and it saved my life many of times. And the link in the description down below, it will take you to a subreddit called CrockPotCooking. Now this thing is nuts, revolutionary. You can make a wide variety of meals on a crock pot that all you do is you just set it up, you make everything that you want in the morning, you let it cook, simmer throughout the day. Once you come in, boom. Nice, hot, fresh food just like mama used to make for you. Hoo child, some sweet granny stew. Really, if it's more of a leisure, relaxed sort of thing, you just want to go out after work, just have a nice natty light with the boys and watch the game, then really it's a lot easier than that. All you need to do is if you go out, order an entree, split it with somebody. Restaurant portions are typically a lot bigger than what you typically are capable of eating, and that's so that way they can justify their prices. And if you split that entree with somebody, not only are you saving money, but you're also taking the more health-conscious route. And I'm not trying to guilt you for anything like that, but it does certainly help out if you decrease your portion size. That's why intermittent fasting is such a great way to lose weight, because our culture around us is telling us to eat 3 times a day, whereas if you just eat 1-2 times a day like people did thousands of years before us, you'll usually end up on the more healthier side of things. So let's go ahead and just get past this possible Twitter moment. And let's move on to my favorite part, and that would be the numbers. So imagine you're working a 9 to 5, kind of a hard thing nowadays, but just ride with me. So if you order a good old coffee and a croissant every day you start, it comes out to about $6. Follow that up with a $10 entree at your favorite taco place just down the road. You know, you love that carne guisada. And if you're feeling a little bit more, like having a bit of a bad day, go for a carne asada, Get a little bit more dryness there, but it makes it matches your soul and it feels a lot better. And of course, if you're somebody who likes to go out and eat, I can imagine you're spending about roughly $35 on a meal 3 times. Let's just keep it down to 3 times. With all of that there, you're coming out to about $185 a week spent on food. That comes out to $740 a week, or $9,620 a year. Could you imagine what you'd do with an extra $10,000? That would be nuts. You could spend that on a good number of things to keep you happy, healthy, save for your future, pay for your kids' college. I don't know, buy that super sweet Garfield outfit that you've always wanted. It's there. You just gotta watch out. Conversely, imagine you just made breakfast at home, brought a sack lunch to work, and decide to cut down your eating out to just once a week. Save it for something really special, Get yourself that onion blossom that you've always wanted, just that one time a week. With our rough estimate of about $3 per homemade meal, your food expenses drop to $65 a week. That's it. That is $260 a month, or $3,120 a year. That's it. That is a third of what you're paying when you're eating out like every single day. It's nuts, ain't it? You could take that $6,500 and save that away for a very nice vacation, or even better yet, put it away to an interest-bearing account and start saving up for your retirement there. If you put in a 4% interest account after 25 years, you got yourself about $250,000. I'm not joshing, I'm not joking. That's nuts, fam. Eating out is a very nice thing to have. It's one of those things that we in the interpersonal finance circle call a poor person's tax, though. It's one of those things like the lottery or buying a lease on your furniture or cars or anything like that. It's one of those things to where people kind of use it, and it's one of those habitual things that keep you down to being poor. It's one of those things that rich people don't do, fam. Surprise, surprise. I'll go ahead and I'll share a little bit of a story here. I'm going to keep things light because I want my client to keep their secret identity to themselves, but I'm going to generalize here. I had a client who was making well over $90,000 a year, both her and her husband. They came to me because they needed some help because they were just swimming in debt, medical bills, credit cards, you name it. So I told them, hey, bring me all your expenses on a single sheet of paper. We'll break it down, we'll cut what we need, and we can get those paid off within a year or two. Sweet, right? They brought this paper to me. Everything was loaded up, exactly what I wanted to see, but there was a big expense on there. And you can already imagine what it is if I'm bringing it up in this video. They were spending $1,200 a month on food for just 3 people. That's it. $400 a person every month, $100 a week of food every single month. This alone was keeping them so far down. My first piece of advice, I would tell them, cut it in half. Treat yourself every once in a while. Don't go cold turkey. Don't just subsist off of ramen that's only $23 for a cup, or rice. But, get it down to normal levels. You'll free yourself up $600 a month, or $7,200 a year. That's enough to wipe out any major credit card debt to the point where they're not knocking at your door. And with that, you got yourself a lot more stress-free. You got yourself a lot more time. You got yourself a lot of ability to actually focus on the other debts as well. It's just one of those things to where you just don't think about it. You think that you have to eat all the time because you have to have your 3 square meals a day. But it's one of those things to where, since it's a necessity, you feel like you might as well just put some money into it. But it's just how it's always been. And much like other things, that is always those things that's how you've always done it. There's a flaw in the system, a fly in the ointment, a pearl in the clam, a nightmare in dreamland. Now you might be wondering yourself, well, what about if you were homeless or you were in some sort of situation where you just don't have the money to buy food and supplies and everything? Well, I'll tell you right now, eating out is still the worst option you can do because that is still money that you could be saving up for anything, a house or even a nicer car or an apartment, anything like that. What you need to do is if you find yourself in this situation and you need to eat, everybody needs to eat, don't eat out. Never. Save that. That is a luxury that you cannot afford for now. Reward yourself for very big steps, but everything else in between, don't even bother. Not even McDonald's. I'm not even joking, fam. Go out, buy a camper stove. You can get it for $40, $60. I'm not too sure. And then buy yourself a whole bunch of rice and beans. You're going to be eating like you're poor because you got to realistically face it, fam. At some time or another, you are poor. but the amount of money you will save will be astronomical compared to most things, especially if you still have a job. If you just eat rice and beans, subsist off of that, throw in a couple veggies, of course, you got to watch out for your other food pyramids and food plates now, I think. Keep that going, keep it consistent, have a healthy diet, but make sure you skimp out and make sure you don't, go fall for the poor person's trap, as we call it. Then you will find yourself at a point where you can probably pretty quickly lift yourself out of whatever situation you're in, or at the very least, you'll certainly alleviate yourself. But with that out of the way, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you coming in. Hit that like button if you want to see more personal topic finances subjects like this. Sorry, I kind of slipped up a little bit. Hope you have a great day. I'll see you later. I'll catch you around.